If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello everyone, good morning.
Hi, Manu.
Hi Hector. Oh, I think few more participants yet to join. Okay, we'll wait for 2-3 minutes and then we'll start.
Manu, do you have some recommendation about where to go to learning JavaScript? About something else about the page that you show us, or something, or a book, or maybe, or a manual, or something like that?
JavaScript learning, you are saying some link you want to go through?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So if you have, okay, I mean, I have uploaded already. You might have seen under trainer section, you can actually find out that link which is I have shared earlier, but yeah, okay, fine, no problem. I will share that again.
Yeah, I see that the URL that show us, but something about something else about the JavaScript from different source. I mean.
Okay.
Hi, Manu.
URL. Hi, Vinita. Good morning.
No, this is Preeti, Manu, not Vinita.
Oh, sorry. Hi, Preeti.
No problem. Actually, I tried, Manu, what you explained yesterday about creation of the button on Fiori app.
All right.
So I tried with type reject, and but the event for message toast is not getting fired. So could you check where I have done wrong if I share my screen?
Yeah, share it.
Yeah,
Let me
1
show.
second.
So you can directly bookmark the bash URL directly. You don't need to go always to cockpit and launch from there.
Thanks, Manu. You see the solution.
Yeah. So Hector, you can go to the material section if you have that SharePoint access. Under the material section, you will find last in the bottom, you will find something called shared by trainer. The folder is there.
Yeah.
And you will find there's something called important links for SAP Fiori. Okay. There you can find the links, whatever I have told you, like for SAP UI5 SDK, for Fiori apps library, for design guidelines, for JavaScript. All these links are available over there.
Okay.
Are you able to see if you can navigate?
Okay, let me open my browser. Why I ask you this? Because I think when you have different sources of information, you can have a more wide information.
So, this is the basic, because if you are new, then I would recommend you start from the very basic, which will help you. W3S school is the link which help you. The link which I have pasted in that document, which will help you from the start from the beginning. I know, very basic. Of course, there are a very good website. I mean, where you can deep dive in much details. But I think once you have some idea, then you deep dive there. That will be helpful rather going by a blank. So that's the reason you start from there. Of course, at the end, of course, I will be sharing you some more good, reference that you can take care. And then you can, if you are interested, then you can deep dive and learn more about, this stuff.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, right. In the third part, you say additional articles, right?
Sorry,
the third column. In the page that you sent me, the JavaScript info, just say in the third, when say part 3, additional articles, or part 2, browser documentary interface. And
you are able to find the link for material in the bottom. You see shared by trainer. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay, you can see important links mentioned there. Can you open that?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, now you see the first one is for open for trial account, how you can open. Second one is for SDK, SAP UI5 SDK. Third is your Fiori design guidelines. Fourth is your Fiori apps library, and fifth, what you see is for JavaScript tutorial basic. So fifth link, which is there for your purpose, you can use it.
Excellent. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Okay, all right. Let me see what's your issue now. All right. So, okay. So can you show me your controller file? Very good. So everyone, there are two ways of running the apps. One easy way is like you can directly run from the from the terminal, because the moment you are launching your application to run, right? So automatically terminal will open with some kind of, you can say that, a kind of debugger, automated debugger, which will see all your files information. Anything wrong, then it will just start showing you red, red, red. Okay. So this is the inbuilt feature. Second way, I will also show you today how you can run from, if you see in the left hand side, there are various icons, right? So those various icon will also having one of the feature which you can directly launch your application, that you have to configure your run, that I will show you in today. So, okay, meanwhile Preeti is showing this. So everyone, have you tried this, whatever stuff we discussed yesterday?
Yes, Manu.
Great.
Yeah.
So is anybody face some kind of issue while creating a basic app? Anyone? Honestly, tell me, everyone has tried, or only few of them? Because I only see response from few of them.
I tried and did, and about 4 hours later at the beginning.
Okay, were you able to do that, or you faced some error?
I faced some error because I don't see the correct punctuation, and like new language, it's hard to not to remember all the details, right? So this is why.
No issue.
No.
But you can always refer the recording, right? Like, I mean, for especially I recommend for coding part, which we do from yesterday, especially.
Yeah.
Do refer the recording. It's already recorded session, so you go through that and try see what mistake you are making it, right? Uh, because even if you're not trying that part, right, that will be difficult. I mean, that's the reason we are recording also, so you can go and have a reference of it, or you can go through the SDK. But see, SDK having different, I mean, they explain you different aspects step by, but actually they are combining other previous step also in between, something what they have mentioned in SDK in the previous step, maybe getting override now in the next step because of the next topic, means the way how you can do it. For example, right, we started with index.html file, index.js, right? So you don't need index.js file, right? Because you already have a controller file. Why you need index.js file? Right? It's kind of, the moment you will keep going on, you will see index.html file was blank. Now next step it will show you bootstrap. Another next step it will show you component container, right? So it may little bit confuse you if you are blank completely. That's what the reason I started with a scratch information to all of you. Like, then if you follow the SDK parallelly, of course, after my session or in between, if you're practicing with me, then it will be helpful. But see, you have to put the effort, right? If something you are learning as for programming, uh, I mean, basically you are learning some new framework. It's not only a programming, you are learning a new framework to develop web apps in the SAP world. Anyway, so try that, or in any stage you feel you got stuck somewhere, go and just walk through the, I mean,
to the records of
yeah,
the course. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Or if you want, then everyone, what I can do, every session I will just download that project. I can give it to you. But what will happen? What will happen is that then you will just copy paste. Okay.
Yeah.
You will not learn then, right? Because that's the reason sharing the project folder, maybe at the end it can be done, but in between, if I will do, everyone will just copy paste there and do that. But in that scenario, you will never face error, right? Let's suppose Preeti is having some issue right now. She is showing with me, right? So if you are just copying pasting, you will never get to know what issue can come, what can be done there, right? So that's the idea. Okay, that's the idea. If you're learning something, you have to put your hands here and there. If you are not doing it, then it will be difficult, I would say, to be better in that. Okay. Preeti, can you show me your controller file?
Yeah, when I'm clicking this reject button, the message which I have put it's not getting fired. Actually,
show me the view first. Show me the view file. You can minimize this. Okay, you can close this storyboard project. No need to close. Just minimize. Drag down. This one you can close a storyboard project, which showing you some visualization.
Okay.
Good. Now go to home view. Now see what you have given on button press, right? Go to this method, on button press.
Yeah.
In your controller file. Good. On button press function. Okay. Message toast dot show. Your order is rejected. 3000 home dot controller. Okay. It looks fine. Can you go again? Home view. So page, you have content, then you have mentioned button ID, type reject, press, you have on btn press. Very good, fine. Now go to again home controller. Again put home controller, go back to home controller. Okay, on
in home controller only.
In btn press, yeah, it's got loaded now for me. Function may you have reference of message toast dot show. Okay, it looks fine. Can you go now in the page of your Fiori app? Fiori app. The page which you are running the application, right hand side, the next page.
Where?
No, the next tab which you already open, na? That your app which is running. Your next
this
tab.
One?
After your workspace, see next tab is the My Fiori app. Tab, top. Page, browser page, you show in the top.
In your browser.
In the browser, after
yeah, there.
Tab. This is called tab. Okay, now can you right click?
Here only.
Just right click somewhere in the page. Just right click. Go to inspect here. So basically we are doing some kind of debugging here, but debugging we have a good separate session. I will explain you. I just to check your issue. Go to console. Go to the console. All right. Now click on this reject button. Failed. No, that is not something which is I refused to a script. Okay, can you show me the file folder structure? Expand it. A web app, can you expand? Controller you can expand, and then view file. Okay, go to app view. App. Okay, it's fine. Now go to the app controller. It looks also fine. App, right? Okay, controller, go to home controller. Oh, you have also mentioned controller as a home. Says toast, spelling just seek MESSAG toast dot show. Okay. My see here center space center. Hey, 15 REM, not EM. With me, you see it's 15 REM. With you see property of message toast REM 15 REM. It's you have mentioned EM.
Okay.
And center a space again center. Center, something like that. My as a center again a space gives a space again type center. Okay, and similar way, like you can type for this one at position also like similar to center. Now you comma you remove from the at whatever you have in the last, that comma. Yes, because you are not continuing any other property, right? So it should be
Right.
now you run it. It will work now. You run directly, it will just it automatically gets loaded, right? You see right side, it started loading also.
Okay.
Anyway, it's fine. So I mean, from bash, if you're running any application, it doesn't need to you rephrase, it automatically get rephrase.
Okay.
Now next, you see that application app tile, let it load.
No, it's not coming, Manu.
Still not coming? Click on that.
No.
This is strange. Okay, again right click now. Inspect. Go to console. Come down a little bit because maybe tab text system. Go up a little bit. Okay, little bit. Okay, it's not there. Okay, can you go up now? Can you go back to controller file again? Just a little bit this page, terminal page, you just drag it down a little bit. No, don't need to close. Okay, so we have mentioned duration as a 3000, width as a 15 rem. Okay, and at as a center, right? Now are able to run this center. Okay, what is the spelling you have taken on BTN Express? Message toast dot so looks fine.
Manu, can we check in the view? Can we check in the view?
Go there,
like if
the file. Can you copy this on BTN Press event? What you have in home view? Home view. Go to the home view button ID. Can you copy this on BTN Press? Here. Press event is there, right?
Yeah.
Copy this.
Hi Manu. This you see controller is like
App.
reference of controller is app.
It should be home, right?
Oh.
That's why it's not. Yeah. Now make it home. Good observation. We didn't see that. Great. Okay, so these are the things we have to make sure it's right. Okay. Now your reference was not working, remember, because you are giving the reference of app controller, but you are trying in a home file. Now see it will show.
Yeah.
Good.
Thanks.
Okay, so this is how you should be doing it. So the flow will be like, you go to your file, view file, check the properties, and of course check all this whatever library reference you have given. Controller, you wrote the correct one, like you are referring to your home, but in view you have mentioned. So basically view controller both has to be have a same reference. Okay, and the event file is all same. Good. All right, so everyone.
So, sorry, no. In this case, it's calling by to herself, right?
Sorry?
It's created a loop when she clicked it in the button. He's making a loop, and apparently don't do nothing. But when you put the home in the view, you let it out
so
of that
view,
loop, right?
by mistake, she has referred app controller. See app controller dot app, right? It was there, so it's supposed to be home, right? If you are in the home view, your controller should be home reference. If you are in the app view, you should be, your controller should be in app reference. So basically, your reference to your view controller should be same. Okay. There was few other mistake like in the spelling, like with we have 15 em. There is nothing called 15. If you would have a correct reference, then it would have because it was not throwing error also in the console. The reason because it's not even, I mean, your reference is not that controller, right? So that event has never triggered in that controller. That's the reason even you are not seeing error, right? So that's why if you have a correct reference, if you have some error, let's say in case of her scenario, we have a two error. One was the property reference error was wrong, right? So if it was controller the same reference, then it could have been thrown the error key, you know, this em is not a property or something, some reference provided. But anyway, you understood, right? So this is how I mean, of course you may face during the, that's what I'm saying, you when you start doing it by yourself, you face such kind of error maybe, right? You may not face, but if you face, you can, this is how you can check reference here and there, view controller, check the methods, check the event name, and of course a reference. So generally when you create from the file in the bash, from the bash itself, it will automatically create your and view and controller automatically. But if you are creating by yourself, then it may not be required. I think Gajal, can you just switch off your video? I think it's on, if you are able to hear. All right, guys, so let's start with the today's session, which we are again going to focus on all of your programming, what we have did yesterday. And I hope everyone was aligned and understood what this, about this UI5 Fiori development. Now, what we are going to discuss today is more about your, see, if you have gone through my, this kind of a tutorial, right? So we have control all this. We have discussed about bootstrapping, controls, control view, controller view, right? Transferable text means IIT, and we have right component configuration and component JS. We have gone descriptor file means manifest JSON. We have discussed, right? Pages and panels. Pages we have taken. Panels is just like another control which is there. Okay. Now what we are to get today, we will discuss more on about your modeling. Okay, something called model. Okay, so before I start this, okay, so we have certain models available. Okay, so that model, how I can say in the terms of, let's say if I am going to explain you what all models we have, right? So model, let's see, try to understand that first. Okay, so in terms of modeling, if I go and talk about that, so let's see how it will be. So if you remember, we have discussed about your type of model. If you've seen the introduction class, we also talk about what are the types of models we have. We have OData model, we have JSON model, and then we have something called resource model. Okay, what is resource model? Anybody?
It's IITN.
Yes, so anything which you are referring in your IITN file, right? IITN file is known as a resource model, right? So in that resource model, whenever we say, right, like, so see, data model, it also contains some kind of, right, modeling of your text. That's the reason you can say it as it's a part of your model, right? So this is where we are going to more focused. Today we will not going to completely into depth of, we will not start directly OData. We will start from JSON first, because this is where you will be actually going to understand locally how and you can manipulate this data modeling, and how you are going to bind it with respect to your different types of what I say, model reference, some kind of when you are writing any property reference, right? So like that, how it will work. So first, let's say I have one is this called JSON. Okay, JSON model. Then another one we have something called OData model, which will be like this. We have something called OData model. Okay, so one is JSON model, So if you want to segregate, if you remember anybody, I discussed this part already. What is the difference between OData model, JSON model, and then we have something called resource model, right? Now, in this resource model, which we already know that this is nothing but your IITN model. Now, JSON model, if I say what is JSON model here? So JSON model refers your basically kind of your client side model. Client side means local model. Okay, client side model. When I say client side, so you can say like client side means when you are running your app, right? So your model definition is exists in your in my file, in my project file. That model exists locally. Okay, client side model. That's the difference. That's the meaning of client side model. Now let's say if you have something called OData model, right? OData model called server side. Server side means it's directly communicating with your OData model, which is nothing but communicating to your what? Your backend, right? So server side means the data, the place where you are fetching the data, right? That's why it's known as server side model. And then you have something called resource model, which is also known as internationalization model, or I in short I18N model, right? This is the types of model. This is also IITN model is also going to be your client side model. Like we are not storing the text and all these things and stuff in your backend. Rather, we are storing in the in our locally itself, right? So this model, okay, how it will work here? Now see, remember this. Both the models, what you see, JSON, apart from if I let's say if I put it here, or I will let me put it somewhere in the bottom. Here. Okay, so both the what clients JSON model and OData model, what is the similarity? There is similarity also. What similarity is? Both of them are actually a two-way model. What a two-way model? Two-way model means like any data model, right? Like see, suppose example, if you take, okay, that example I have not taken right now. Okay, what is the meaning of two-way data model? Is like when you are changing, right? Whenever you are changing anything in your UI control, and you are changing something in your data model, so parallelly it's reflecting, right? It's reflecting the change in your both the side. Like we are making the changes in the UI side and your model side. So UI, suppose let's say some text I change in my model, so immediately that text will reflect back to my UI, right? If I'm making some manipulation from my controller to the model, so it will also change the model data, right? So this is called two-way data modeling. Okay, and whenever say like in case of like OData model is also happening the same. This OData model is also a kind of two-way data model where you are whatever data you get data from the server. If you are anything manipulating, you have a method, right? Various method we have, right? Put, update, delete, something like that, right? So these operation is basically is more of like you are changing, you are getting the servers. Let's say somebody change the data in your backend table, right? So your data, whatever you are getting back from the OData model, will also going to change the data information in your UI. But let's say you have manipulated some data and you have updated your OData model, right? So in that scenario also your data, whatever you are referring, it's got changed, right? There is a possibility it has got changed, some value got created, something got deleted, right? So this is called two-way data modeling. It's not like you did something in your UI but it doesn't change anything in your backend. Then it's a one-way data modeling, which means there are two types of data modeling. There is one-way data model and there are two-way data model. Okay, so in right now in JSON model and OData model, okay, both of them are two-way data model. All right, any question in that scenario as of now? No, right? Okay, so let's see how this data model works. So for example, I'm not going to take you for completely as a in depth of everything, because when we are talking about data model, then there is something called data binding, right? So let's start with first our JSON model. data binding. So let me just put this part here, like both of them supports your two-way data binding. Okay, so I will just write this. Both of them are like two-way data model. It doesn't. Okay, I think this may be a wrong interpretation. Okay. Okay. Two-way data model. Okay. Both of them supports you two-way data model. Okay. So for example, I can say this is also refers to your data model, and then this also refers to your data model. Okay, two-way data model. Okay, so both of them is actually referring to your kind of data modeling, which is nothing but your like it communicates whatever you make change in the UI side, it will reflect back to your model. Whatever you make change in the model, it will reflect back to your data model. Okay, so this is about your data modeling. Sorry, not data modeling, your types of model. Okay, now so you understood this client side model, server side model, how it's communicate. And then now let's say I'm going to start with your kind of what I say in terms of data model. So let's see, you can create a model inside your controller file, right? You should not be able to create a data model in your view file. So first thing you remember that. So data model you need to create always as a part of your kind of controller file. Or if you remember, I have talked about this model file, right? So this is the model file where you can actually go and create some data models, like which is locally available, which is nothing but your client side JSON model. If you see example in model.js file, what is mentioned here, see, this is the one method which is recalling method, and it's creating a JSON model. Okay, so this JSON model is the something which you can create in this model.js file, and you can have a reference in your controller. Or there is definitely, I will show you both the way. There are sometimes there a possibility that you can you basically create kind of method, like basically the kind of some small data model immediately in your runtime in your JS file itself, right? So if you remember, yesterday I talked about also one more thing. I will just show you here. Let's say I am going to put another slide. If you here, okay, so here, so we have something called life cycle method. Okay, so life cycle method stands for here is that we have in SAP UI5 you have life cycle method. Okay, life cycle method stands for, what is the meaning of life cycle in general also, right? In general also, why we say life cycle something? Anyone? Okay, so see, life cycle method stand for the methods which is going to be available your the starting point of your application, the beginning of your, I mean, what I mean to say, initialization. Okay, I would say starting means initialization. Then the starting of your control loading, like let's say your page is getting loaded, your table is getting loaded, right? And then what happened once the control gets loaded, and then at the end when you exit, right? So that's why there are four types of life cycle method. Okay, so if you are, I'm going to make it like, suppose we have like if I'm going to make it, so what are the four types of life cycle method available? So one will be your something called on init method. Remember in our file you see this is our first as on init, right? So what is this? This is the method which we generally we say kind of your first method. Okay, this will be your first method will be used here, which is called your on init. I can say here on init. So what is the purpose of on init method? Okay, so see, this is the first method which is going to basically start. Okay, the first method. Okay, the first method which will run. Okay, the very first method in your program which is going to run is this is the first method. Okay, and then after on in it there is something called on before rendering. Okay, there's something called on before rendering. On before rendering. And okay, render, what is the meaning of render, right? Render means something going to start, right? So this method is going to start after on init. Okay, if something you want to write, suppose see what happened here in my, let's say I'm running this application, my page is I want to do something in the background. Okay, let's say for example I want to apply some kind of change in my table before it's appear, right? Before it's appear, so which means you modify something before your controls getting loaded, right? This methods runs, right? This methods runs before the controls start loading. Start rendering, I would say. Start rendering means why nothing but loading. Okay, so I will just use the technical word rendering. Okay, so that is the meaning of your on before rendering. What you have to do here, just see, remember what you have to do here in this scenario. Whenever this method will run, first this method, okay, first this method will run. Okay. So what does it mean here? In your controller file, this is the first method which will run, and right, and it will runs only one time. Only one time. What does it mean? It means that let's say this page already loaded, right? For example, okay, I have this my application. I'm running now. Okay, and I hope my speed is fine, right? If anybody feel any issue with the kind of speed, then just let me know. I'm little bit slowing down because I felt if you guys are catching up, that's great. If not, just let me know. Okay, so now see, if this is my first method, okay, so what will happen here? On init will start. This on init will be invoked first. Okay, now how you will identify that, I will show you definitely. But this will runs only one. What does it mean? Means if what the app even is started load, right? Even if I refresh now, my whatever methods or whatever the logic, whatever things I have mentioned here, it doesn't need to again sorry, not in refresh, sorry, my bad. I will say you, for example, if I'm going back to some different page here, okay, I will talk about navigation. Sorry, my bad, not refresh. I mean to say, like when you are in the same page and going back to the next page, right? Suppose first page going back to next page. Now when you're going to the next page, also at that time you are actually invoking all these methods, right? Because the first time when you're loading every page, every controller, it has to go through at least this method. No, this is not always used, and there are other two methods. I mean, it depends on your use cases. You want to use it or not, it's up to you. So this is the on init which will be invoked. But when you, because in this case scenario, when you go to the next page, now again you are coming back to this previous page, right? From page 1 to page 2, right? Now from page 2 to page 1 you are coming back. At that time this method will not invoke again because this has been already loaded, right? So this will be not utilized to restart again. So that's why on init method will runs only with those information which you required only one time. For example, I need to declare my resource model only one time. Why should I load again and again? Let's say I'm going to the next page, I will come back again. I don't want, I mean, for me it doesn't make any sense, like why I should declare and run it again, right? So it's, you declare and write such functionality which you need only one. Okay, so this will support this with methods contains those info Okay, those info which supposed to execute only once. For example, defining data model. Okay, could be your like data model like could be your JSON or data. Okay, resource. Okay, or I will say like just IITN model etc. Something you want to model. Okay, or any master data. Okay, if you want to call master data, okay, call it. Okay, master data calls or master data methods. Okay, master data or any something, anything, or any I will say methods. Okay, or any I will say logic, any functional logic. Okay, functional logic like to validate user roles or authorization. I'm just mentioning you one example. Okay, got it. So this is the first thing which you need to understand is on init will be executing the first time, which will run. This will run only one time, that you have to understood. Second thing is that this method contains those info which supposed to execute only once. Okay, example I have given, like you can define any data model like JSON or data, IIT and more, or any logic, any function logic which you want to validate a particular user had logged in, and I need to check what roles that user has. Based on that role, you want to show had some controls button etc, right? So those scenario it will be useful in that case. Okay, so this is what I'm saying here. Let make it some more space, I guess that will be better. It's going something up and down. Okay, so also remove this and I will put this here. Everyone is okay, right? Understood what I said till now? Give me some reply, guys.
Yes, Manu. Yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
fine.
Good. So this is how, I mean, we are talking about your kind of what we talk about right now with respect to your one of the life cycle method. Okay, which is called in my in terms of, I would say, a basic understanding of your on init method. Now we have a second method which is called, let's say, I will just,
Hi, Manu.
yeah,
So onInit function will run when the page initialize, means when the
initialize.
page
Yes.
loads, and all the function inside the onInit, all the things will load. Right?
Yeah, yes. But look, it will be going to see. I told you it's a scenario, right? When you are launching first time, or you are refreshing it, browser refresh, then it will be load first. But when you are moving from, let's say, this page to this page, for example, what I'm saying, like I'm just bad example, but see what I'm saying. From this page one, I will of course create another page where we will discuss more about routing and navigation. So what I'm saying, if you are in the first page, you go back to the second page, right? Second page also have an onInit function. But first page may already you have loaded, right, on init method. So when you're coming back from second to first, that time all methods will start. Okay, but on init will not be a start. On it means to be runs only one. Okay. Okay. Or and generally this method it is utilized to something to declare once. For example, like execute one, like for example, you define some data model, right? You define or any functional logic to, for example, like validate any user have given, yeah, or you can or call master data, right? Master data is a huge set of data calling from data set, right? So why you want to call every time whenever you come here and go, you go back to next page, coming back again it will make a server call. It will basically slow down, right, your application, because you are making more requests of data call again and again. So such scenario where you want to actually perform only one action, that things comes under your on init method. Okay, now on after rendering is the another type of rendering method, life cycle method, which talk about your controls loading information. For example, what is the control loading information? Control loading information is that this may runs before the control starts rendering in the view, for example. So this will help you in the sense of if you want to write some logic, okay, and this method can runs, okay, and this methods runs, okay, to do something, okay, okay, this methods basically used, okay, used to do something before any controls in UI gets rendered, okay, rendered, something you want to do something, yeah, or do some logic, okay, some validation, or you want to do write some logic, okay, something like write some logic, right, etc. before any controls, okay, any UI gets rendered, okay, it will keep executing, right, to and fro. Means when either you reload it, or you either you reload or you come back from here and there, okay, in that scenario. So basically, this is the method where we are going to talk about anything which we are need to do just before you want to apply something in that scenario. For example, this logic of user validation also you can put here, because I mean it depends, right? I'm saying you based on the use cases. So just you understood when which method is useful, and remember guys, this is the template, this is the standard method given by your framework. It's not something we are defining, it's inbuilt, it's given by the framework, okay. After the on before, we have something called on after rendering, okay. What will happen in on after rendering? On after rendering is also like it's kind of life cycle method which also helps you to do method runs just after the control, okay, rendered, okay, rendered in the view, okay, in the view. So basically what does it mean is that, let's say you wanted to do something just after the table gets loaded, right? Then you want to, let's say, modify some of the row automatically, not by the user. These are the methods we use for automatic action. Automatic in the sense like you want to perform during the runtime, okay, that's you can take it like automatic, okay. But I mean in the technically we say runtime, matlab it's not going to done by user, but rather it's going to be done by your controller itself in the runtime, okay. So that's where we are talking about here. It's not a user interaction or defined method. It's more of your defined method, which is going to be basically, okay. You got right. So understood the point. Now this method runs after the control renders in the view. View means I will say like UI means what you user interface, okay. Now after rendering the controls, okay, like renders in the controls, right? Or you can write something, okay, and basically it triggers your rendering just same way like every time after, okay. Triggers it always, it's this method, it's triggers, okay, always like after every rendering, okay. It triggers always, yeah, you can say after every rendering, okay. Means whenever any control keep rendering, be it you might navigate from one page to another page, or you come back or something, right, or you rephrase, at that time it will always repeat. So I will also, okay, I will also mention here triggers after every rendering of, or you can say re-rendering of controls, okay, re-rendering of, okay. Same thing. Now I can reduce this part, and I will say here, instead of writing this, okay, it triggers every, no, before every re-rendering of controls. Okay, like that. Now we have another one which is very small, which is the call again. After on init, you initialize. Now you are going back to something called on exit, right? So this method helps you like see again, the same thing. This applies here also. Let's say I will mention this also here. Let's say, for example, you want to write some law, right? This method used to do some validation, write some logic. Okay, after any controls in UI gets render or re-render, I can say render or re-render means it's already loaded or it's fine, the same thing, rendering. So let's not confuse. Now let's say now we have last method which called your exit. Exit means as name indicate, right? So this method generally calls whenever you make any kind of taking exit from the particular view. Okay, means what? It's basically it's a cleaning method. Okay, this calls this methods, okay, responsible for cleanup activity, right? Let's say you are and call like basically when you are navigating, right? When you are exiting, that is means after when you are executing any of the UI screen, if you want to do some kind of cleanup activity, right? Means it's, you can say that kind of destruction. Okay, you are going to destroy something. Then on exit method is responsible. You matlab means that you can write under this particular method, yeah, whatever you want to do in terms of when you want to exit the particular methods, that time you can use that part. Okay, so this method is responsible for cleanup activity, okay, just after exiting the view or any view means like any view or UI, whatever you can. Okay, so this is called up by the framework by self. If you need to explicitly destruct any kind of method, then generally it will keep coming here and you have to write those logic. So generally, okay, it write those logic, okay, those logics which needs to be reset, okay, or reconstructed, or reset is fine. Okay, reset just after exiting any view. So this is where kind of destruction, basically you are doing the cleanup everything, right? You are clean. Let's say you want to remove anything. You have mentioned local model, right? You don't want to this local model to be available when you are leaving that, right? It could be some sensitive data information. You could something as a locally you wanted to handle such kind of destruction of your file information, then your lifecycle method will be useful. All right. So okay, so everyone, you understood this, right? What does it mean is that I hope all of you in aligned on this.
Yes, Manu. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, great. So now, so this is one of the another topic we have after your data model. I would say like then similar way, I think I will put here as a data model, SAP UI5. Types. Okay, all right. Now let's come back to our scenario. Now what I'm going to do is now, so this is, I already gave you something here already. This is something my resource model. Now see, let's say I want to put my auditor service. So remember guys, so in this is something when we referring, right? It's referring a global. Like suppose this, if I'm saying this something, what does it mean? It means this information will be available across the file. Means okay, you know that scope. Anybody know what is the scope of a method?
Yeah, that is global or the local, right?
Yeah. So what does it mean by scope? When I say a scope, what does
I
it
mean,
mean by
either it will be referenced globally or it will be referenced locally.
very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's suppose, let's see something. If I write here this, okay, it means this is going to be referenced under this method only. Okay, this is a JavaScript part here, by the way, you guys. So when I'm writing something inside this particular function, this is going to be locally available to that particular method. But if I'm writing it, remember, only that's why I said something you want to write here, which is you want to be available always. That's the one-time declaration, and that you can do it always here in this scenario. And those kind of stuff will be taken care as a global. So anything you define here will be available all the time. So what I mentioned here, this dot resource model reference to be every time whenever I need to use this model, I just have to refer this notation. I don't have to write here this dot get another component IIT and all this thing and then get text. No, I just refer this because it has all this information. So this is, let's say I want to make it my OData service available, right? So I will just say here, remember yesterday I told get component dot get model. So basically if I am not writing any name here, so it's basically it's going to give me my OData service. Remember yesterday I talked about under the manifest.json file, if you go to my this main service, which is my OData service, which is basically referred in my model section of SAP UI5. This doesn't have any name. See, it's a blank. But if I if I write here some name, okay, something like OData service, okay, something OData, right? So in that scenario, I have to give this reference name here. I have to pass that reference name here. Okay. So generally, when you have only one single OData service, then it doesn't require to have the name. Rather, you can direct. So it will help you to be available globally. That's the reason. Okay. So this is one of the model. I'm just going to reference my OData model where what it is showing here. It just go and have you just go and get your model. So if I'm giving the name, it will become the named model. If I'm not giving the name, it will become unnamed, or basically if you have in something in manifest file, it will be a global model. All right. So this is how you define something. Let's say I want to define model, right? So what I will do here in that scenario, I will say JSON model, right? So before that, I have to declare, right? I have to declare my JSON. Remember, anything which you want to use it, you need to declare under your define section. Okay. So you need to, there is a syntax available here, SAP, okay, UI. Okay. So this goes as a model because the SAP, it's a very single SAP, then UI, then slash model, then slash JSON, right? Then slash JSON like this. Okay, so you have to declare your your reference and then pass it in the return function this name. Now what will happen here, I can directly go back and I create one of the let's say I want to create a local JSON model. Okay, so I will say okay, so guys, so remember in the little bit JavaScript notation here, let's say I am saying var. Okay, now see, there are something which is a variable declaration. You guys know already probably in, of course, in ABAP also there will be a logic for Java, right? Variable and stuff, all this thing. So when you say var, it means you are declaring some kind of variable. Okay. So I'm saying here var JSON model. Okay. Now guys, again, see, there are certain coding guidelines. Okay. So we need to follow whenever we talk about in terms of JavaScript. Okay, so let's say if you have some object, you start with O. O stand for object, means you have to have a prefix of O, and then you should mention O JSON model. I'm just writing some short notation, and I will say here new this JSON model. That's it. So this JSON model I gave it, right? I just gave this name. Now see, this JSON model, whenever I will go now, this is my var, right? So again, I remember again, whenever you are writing any model, any function, if you are using it locally in a function, here also, if I make it by this, it will become global. But if I'm making it var, it will become JSON model, normal JSON model. It will be available only till here. It's not going to be available everywhere. In that scenario, what you need to do, one more thing, there are two ways. If you want to do it and make it just this model everywhere available, then just use this dot something. But generally for model, we don't do that. We don't do this dot something for JSON model. Generally what we do is, instead of that, okay, one more thing, I want to give a name to this model. Okay, so in that scenario I can just pass a name, or let's say right now we'll go, and I told you, right, if you want to make this global available to this view, then generally for model you should not do by this, rather you do something called this dot get view. This is the one of the method. Remember that this is going to be very common method. This dot get view, it means what? I want to get the view information of the view I am in. Which view I am in? I am in my home view. So this dot get view means whichever view you are in, get that view. Means the information of the view. Of course, you will be getting a lot of object information. And then in this view model, set the model. See, set model. So get setter, getter, setter is very important. Set model. I will say, okay, I am setting this model. Which model I want to set here? Pass this variable of reference of your model here. This is your JSON model. Now see, this model, you want to give some name, right? You can, okay, and let's say I want to create another model, model number 2, model number 1, model number 3, right? Let's say I am saying here my O view model. Let's say I'm giving a O view model. Let's say tomorrow, yes, now next my need is, let's say create some model like master data model, something, right? So every time you need to, if you are just giving this information, let's say you are declaring again and again, you are coming back here, you are setting back your master data model here, right? But see, trust me, identifying this model such like this will be difficult for you, because in this model you have both the model, but how will you identify which is your correct model? This is where you need to pass also. It's a good practice to give a name to your local model, JSON model. See, I told you, this is your global model. Here is a referencing from manifest. You have only one OData model, so it will always be correct. If you have more than one, then you can pass the name. But in case of JSON model, it's always a best practice. I'm not saying you cannot do that. You can, yes, you can do that. For example, let's say I want this model to be available. All right, okay, got the point. So now see what I'm saying here. So there was a way I told you, right? If you want to give the name, so it will help you to identify which model you are talking about. But this is, I'm talking about something which is going to be available throughout your view file. But let's say you want, okay, you want just a model for some specific to your some of the method, right? Okay, in that scenario you don't need that. Okay, in that scenario you don't need, suppose some data you are executing in this particular method, and for particular method, for that function moment only you need this data, this model, then then it's fine, you don't need to put a name. But whenever you are putting it available to across the view, give name. Okay, you can give anything, like say suppose here I'm giving here view model, and remember, general practice, you should always practice naming convention or whatever we have. This is the best practice. Okay, something called JS doc, and we have some naming convention, we have something just to be aligned with the good coding. Okay, I'm not saying if somebody has given some other name ABC, that will also work. Okay, it's not going to break, but our best coding practice, we should follow such thing. That's why I will cover that, because that's my habit actually. So that's why I will also encourage you to make use of such thing. So camel case is the naming always has to be done. Now see master data model. So I will say master data model. So whenever I go here, whenever I want to reference my model, now it's very much clear. Okay, I want master data model. I will call this JSON model with the name. So it will give me this model. I will go and call by this name. It will give me this model. Got the point? So this is the advantage of writing, kind of your model here. Now see, tell me, on it I have defined, right? So whenever I am coming here in this file, from any of the next page to coming back here, this piece of code will not execute again, because on it method is meant to be execute only once. Okay, so these are the things you can do in this method. Something you want to present globally, something you want to do it once, and something you want to do such kind of anything which is something you want to validate in the beginning, not every time, right? One time activity, something one time activity you need to do under your on init. Okay, similar way, like I told you, let's say if I'm writing here on before rendering, on after rendering, right, whichever method I have told you. So all these things you can mention in your controller file, and based on that you can perform your action, something you want to do that. Okay, so we will talk about in details, don't worry. But if I tell you in terms of coding, generally whenever you do, you are going to use 100%. Of course it has to be there, because on it has to be there always first. Then on before, on after, on exit is optional. Optional means it based on your use case. Okay, it's not always necessary that you can go and write here. Let's say I am doing here on before, okay, rendering. Okay, so this is something you want to perform something, right? If you want to do some logic here, like just before your control gets loaded, then you write that. If you don't have any such use case need, then actually it's not required. You can, there is one method I will show you that basically can do these activity at once. Okay, there are one method that comes as a part of routing, and then at the bottom of any of your method you can have your on exit. So this is your optional method which you have to write down if you need it. If you need, then write down. If you don't need, it's not necessary, it's optional. But it's good to have an idea if you have certain such things to do. Let's say on exit of this function, what I want to do, whatever data I have here in this model, right? In this model, whatever data I have, I want to clear it down. So I will clear it down here in this method. Okay, something like that. So these are the methods, what you see, these are the optional method that on demand, if is your need, then do it. If not, then you can leave it. So this is the enough method, and there is one more method is a part of your routing and navigation. That is the one method comes which is majority of your functionality can be handled in that particular method. That also I will talk about. Okay, so now I hope you understood, right? I mean, two things we discussed. One is your types of data model, and one is your lifecycle method, which we have discussed just now. Okay, now I will be going to create one data model locally. Okay, and then I will show you how this model reference I'm going to put here in one of my control, which remember yesterday I told you somebody, if anybody has tried or not, I have no idea, but if you would have tried, then great. Okay, so what I told here, you go and take a sample of input and put some kind of data or some kind of just create something. Okay, just create something. Okay, like that. I told you something to do. Okay, remember, like that. So I'm going to do this part, and I will show you how data binding will change here and how my modeling will change here. I will also include this button action. If I click on something, how I can manipulate the data of that particular control. Okay, so I hope everyone is okay now. All this information which we talk about. Now see, I'm going to talk about how your JSON model you can create. I will try to give you both the example how you can have a reference in model.js, and in your controller file itself you can actually create some data, right? So see, I told you, right, if you want to create some static data in the beginning of your files gets loaded, or I to see, it depends on use case. Again, I told you, right, some model data you may need a particular to some method in only, then that time you make it available here. Or you want some data to be available every time, right, every time, then you do declaration only once. Okay, so for example, let's say I am going to create some kind of data. Okay, so what I will do, I will again create a bar. Okay, one more thing, guys. Okay, so if you see the modern JavaScript, okay, you will see that there are I mean, there are something called ECMAScript, which is, again, I told you, right, JavaScript are a separate language and different training module. But see, there's a bad, and you might see let. Okay, both are actually a variable declaration, but both are having some differences. Okay, so right now, for your ease of understanding, I'm using var. But when you are doing any kind of exploration, you may see let. Don't get confused, both are your variable. The only differences are that what are the difference you have var and let. Again, it's a JS topic. You want to learn, then you can of course refer to your var let. There are certain basic difference, like let is being more powerful, I mean, than var. Var is a little bit weak notation of your variable, but when you use let notation, it becomes a little bit stronger. Okay, that's the so just for your ease of understanding, I'm using var. Var stands for variable. Okay, similar way you may see some places where it's not present, but it's present as a constant. Okay, so constant is again one of the way of declaring a variable that you cannot change it. Okay, so constant is name is the constant, right? The constant something means you should not able to change. That's the reason the name has given as a constant. Okay, so when you have constant declaration, don't be confused. It's again a variable reference only, variable of any data or variable of any object references, but it's a variable, but you cannot be able to modify if it's declared with respect to constant. But yeah, it can be modified at certain type. If you have array or some kind of object in that certain situation, you should be able to manipulate. But this is your JavaScript methods and all involved. So we'll not going much into that. So we'll stick to your, just for your information I have just said, whenever you see var let and constant, don't be confused. It's more often both are almost all are same, but having definitely having some certain technical difference. Okay, now let's say I'm creating some data, right? Let's say I'm creating var some data. Okay, or I will say here local data. Okay, something like that. Okay, data. Okay, see, I'm trying to write everything in your, like, the practice, make a habit of practice of camel case. This is the preferred practice. Now see, in this data, what I'm going to use it. So see, JSON is like, it's an object notation, right? JSON stands for, right, JavaScript object notation. So it means you are going to create some kind of object. So object creation is, you always have to write, this is your JavaScript again concept. Okay, so this always you start with a curly braces. Okay, and then under this curly braces, you write some, let's say I am writing first name. Okay, first name. Okay, let's say I am giving something like, okay, as a I will talk about some kind of let's say Jaren. Okay, now again I will say last name. Okay, I'm just saying, let's say I have TCS. Okay, something like that. Okay, so let's say I have a two data. Now let's say I will say location. Okay, so location I will say, let's say I have for Bangalore. All right, so this is how we have this local data. Now I have created us, this is just a simple my Java, I mean I would say like kind of, okay, some places you might see, in terms of some local data, whenever you see that anything local notation of O data and all, there are different way of doing it. Okay, they may enter some kind of reference to your directly something called, okay, I can make it a little bit interesting. Let's say I give you something name, right? Name to my model, right? Name to my data. Like I cannot directly go to my data and start doing this. So I can say something, let's say intro. Okay, I can say the name as a intro. Okay, intro to something. And then under that, you create your data. That is also possible. This is the best practice. Okay, what I said here, this is also another approach, that you are not giving any reference, right? Rather what you are giving, you are just giving us some naming. So this will become a path, means under the intro section you have these property available. Now some places you will see with the string or without a string. Okay, so don't worry, even some places you might see this is given here. Okay, it will be the same. Okay, it will going to be act like same, like you will have either a string reference or either going to be a normal reference. So it's just referring your property and this is your value. So if the value is like integer, let's say I have a contact, right? Contact. So in this contact, I can integer some kind of value, something like 9 1 9 2 3 4 5 6, whatever we have, right? This is the some kind of number which we mention here, right? So this is the one of the good practice. You put this name. If you don't want to put this also works. Okay, this will also work. And if you are going to give the name, it's just going to a structure wise. Suppose intro you have given this. Now let's say you want to some more details, right? Let's say you want to location, you want to check about like, okay, location is some object, some property, let's say like business. Okay, what are the business objects it can have, right? So you can have the different set of what are the things you can mention it as a business, right? So you put and start with the another property, right? And then you put under that reference what it does, right? You can have a separate property of like line of business, something, okay, line of business, okay, something like this, right? So you can mention here like service software, okay, software, something like that, right? Line of service software or anything. Means what I'm saying, property, list of property, right? You when you do ABAP coding also anything back in, you have those property you expose in your metadata, so you reflect. So this is what we are just declaring it, okay, for example. Okay, so this is your, let's say you created a bundle of your what I say like local data model, right? The same data model can be retrieved if you have certain OData model available, right? So what will the advantage you will get here, right? Remember some advantage what you are going to get in terms of anything which you are going to write down or some notation you are going to put down. Well, how it's going to be relevant to you. Okay, so for example, this data model locally you use whenever you need it only locally available, then you have certain JSON model. Okay, even you use OData model, but there is some requirement, you may have your local data model and then you should do it. In that scenario, you should, yes, you should have some data model of local JSON and then manipulate some action which is only meant to be UI, meant view. But if you have server-side model, then you have to communicate with your directly OData. Basically, I'm talking about the business data what you receive. That if you have OData, then yes, it's a best practice. You should directly communicate with your OData itself. Okay. Now see how I'm going to use it, right? So anybody know dot, right? So I'm telling you is both are same, like the way you I'm just structuring. If you are structuring, it's good. If you're not structuring, then you can keep it plain also. Okay, both the way is possible. Now to more deep dive into this thing, you should go to your, I mean, of course we have JavaScript reference I have given JSON. You can find out how you can create a JSON model or something you should be able to do. In fact, if you go to your data model, yeah, JSON, right? So you may see some kind, okay, you see on it where yes, you see this some kind of, see, this is how it has been created, right? So like that. So you either give a name or either you don't give a name, both is possible. Okay, all right, so don't worry about that. It's just a way of segregating your business or segregating of this, right? Like that. If you want to have some data, I will show you. Let's say, sir, you want me to different way, then I can show you without this structure how your data, okay, just because the same name, demo data, let's say. Okay, all right, and then not required because it's a variable, right? So we don't need, only you need comma when you have a function. Now what I will do, I will remove this. Okay, and I will put everything here just to make sure, you just to give you an understanding that it will work. If you are segregating, it's up to you. If you're not segregating, still it will work. Okay, so like that. Okay, now see, Right. Okay, understood. Right. So this is both the way. Now what I will do, this is my local data. This is available as a JSON, right? The data structure, but it is not yet available in my JSON model, right? I just declare my JSON data structure, but I have not used, I cannot use it, right? It's just a variable. What you can do now, so this is the model, right? This model will now help you to set this data into this model. Okay, so now what you will do here, you will again see this dot get view, okay, and then get model, and then you pass the data. You got this? So whenever whatever data I have given here, what you will do, how you will do that? Again, first this dot get view dot, see this time I said set model, right? What I will this time what I will say, get model dot get model by name. What name I have given here? I have given as a view model. So I will give here as a view model. Okay, and then dot set. What I will do here, I can either pass the data, or either I can directly give the example of set data. Okay, so set data. So what will happen here? There's a JSON model. If you want to more deep dive into it, you will have always a reference to it. For example, you go to your JSON model here, okay, and you will definitely find here JSON model. Okay, here you see, you will find out the information. What are the things here? See, methods may, you will see here all these things, set data, right? Then you have something load data, right? The load data means when you are using a file, some kind of file structure, then that's where you will use it. Set data is generally we use whenever you are passing, kind of information regarding to your locally available. In that scenario, you are going to be presenting all these stuff. But yeah, I mean so this is what method I'm using. But I'm saying, this is the place you can go around. See, I told you SAP UI5 SDK is your Bible. You will find every information whatever is available for Fiori UI5 development aspect, I'm saying. Okay, so you go here, you can find out. Now see what they're saying, set data. This is the method of set data. What you want to do, right? What is set data method mean? You pass the O data, means the data set on the model wherever. Okay, and this is another B merge is the flag, whether you want to merge with data instead of replacing it. Like for example, you don't want to replace, rather than you merge it. Okay, so then you true and false, you pass it. So a set data, what data I have? Local data. So I will say set data. Okay, what will happen? For example, there is a way of you can simplify also this. How I can do in different way? What I will do, in the JSON model itself, wherever I am declaring it. Remember that position is very important. See, when this my declaration of variable is after my JSON model, right? Then only you should be able to get this model. Right. For example, let's say you have declared a variable first, okay, and then you either declare again the JSON model. If you have not done that, you cannot directly use this. Either you declare earlier or declare after, before you use it. Means, are you understand what I'm trying to say? If this reference is not present and you are doing it here, it will not work. So either same thing you can do here also, like I'm creating this model here, but do not do again what I'm saying. Then in that case, it should not be here. Then you are creating a model and then you are passing it. In this scenario right now, in this space, there's another way also, like you can do this directly pass here. If you are doing like this, you are going to do this line will be not required then. So there's a different way of doing it. It's the same thing. I mean, whether you do by left hand or right hand, it's actually doing the purpose the same thing. It's just I'm showing you the actual way of development when we use it. Okay, so that's the scenario where you declare first, okay, and then have a variable of data. You get it first and then set it back. or you can do together at one place. It's all done. No, it's possible. There's no hurdle into that. Since we already declared, so I have shown you. Okay, just for your understanding, I will just write down and I will comment it. So commenting it, how you'll do double slash. Okay, this is how you will comment out. Okay, so what I will do here, for example, let's say I'm doing it for example. So what I will do, I would have done it. I would have done this. Where was JSON model? I would have passed my data directly here in the body, and then I would have set this model. Okay, this is also possible. Okay, both ways possible. So I'm just commenting out so that you can have reference available. Okay, okay, another way of doing it. Okay, directly I can put here comment directly. Also, data can be set. Okay, and here you reference you by reference data to model. Right now, similar way. Okay, or the way I did for this, similar way I can try here. Okay, and I can put this my data over here to my next data model. Okay, and just to make sure that I told you, right, it could be a single, it could be inside a quote, or it could be without quote. Both will work. So for that proof also, let me show you that. Okay, so somebody, someone, some example you may see with this string available both the side. Okay, so it's just that in JSON is very smart enough. The left side, whatever you write in the below this semicolon will be your, sorry, colon will be your property name. Whatever you assign after that will be your value name. So you may see something like this, some of the JSON example and some of the JSON example with this, some without this structure which I am showing you here, some with the some structure, right? So that you can have defined path basically, right? Okay, all right, now I'm going to do it how we are, okay, going to perform something, right? Let's say, for example, I have now view file, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to place some input here. Okay, for example, I'm not going to use button. Instead, I'm going to, I mean, we could put it, but that's fine. We already shown you example. Input. Remember, I told you whenever you need to some control, go to your SDK sample, search that control, go to the coding part, and in fact, you can do some change, and you can also see how the behavior works. I mean, in live you want to see. So what you do, you put input here, okay, and come back to your view file, and here what you can do, you just place it here as a input. Now see, in this scenario, what happens here? Okay, ID has given product ID. Okay, product input. Yeah, I will say just like input ID, just to make sure we are aligned with the naming convention. Placeholder you understood, right? What is a placeholder means? Something will be written here, enter product. This is the placeholder, right? So it will just the indicator that you are actually writing the proper thing. Okay, now tell me somebody quick. I want to convert back into, give a reference from I18N file. Tell me how should I do that? I want to write this by keeping a reference from I18N. What should I do?
You can define this part in I18N file first, and then we can have a reference.
Yes. So what will do? How you will get reference? Parent, curly braces. Then write I18N and this, and then gives the product name. You can have something like you, of course, this would be something like this, enter product. Okay, go back to your I18N property. Here you maintain the value, and just before equal sign, you have to mention the what property you are referring to your actual file. So this is your enter product and enter product. All right. So now see, this is I'm referring from your. So this is the best practice. Okay, never hard code it because it's always has to be in I18N. The reason being is it's going to help you whenever this application going to launch in different languages, right? That's the reason you maintain in SAP UI5 Fiori. every text is going to be maintained as a part of your itinerant file, never hard code it. In fact, even in the controller also, don't hard code it. Okay, so this value elf we are not talking about. Suggestion also we are not talking about. We will talk about this feature later. Okay, this suggestion item, whatever you see, this is also I am not going to talk about. Now we have some another property called value. Okay, and value you can just see if I'm going to hard code. Let's say I'm going to hard code something test. Okay, so what will happen here again? What happened? Input. I think it's not closed. Okay, now so if you see here input placeholder and value, I am putting it back here. All right, now let me since this function whatever you see here. Okay, 1 minute. What happened here? This is the one. Okay, something 1 minute here. Okay, this is done. Next we have this. Okay, this is extra. Okay, now that error gone. Okay, so this is how, see, the editor will itself will see what are the error. You understand that. See, the moment it was extra braces, right? You can always see the closing part. Okay, where it's closed. Closing is this. Then you check this is actually closing here. Then what this is extra, right? And closing. How you will identify the error is coming? It will become turn out into red. And then you see this starts showing you this red indicator. It means something wrong. So find out what wrong. Generally it happens with the syntax error or something. Now see, it's gone. Okay, now it will load your application. Wait for it. Now see, I passed the value test. Okay, now let's make it a little bit better with the class. So what I will say here again, same class I will use it. So it will be little bit looks better. I will say here margin begin, and I want some space from end also, right? So it will give me some margin from the basically, okay, bottom, or I can keep it here. In this case, I can say top. From the top, I want something. For first control from the bottom, it will work. From the top, it will be work from the second control. Okay, so now see, this is how the action has been visualized. Okay, now see, it's works here. A small margin begin, and then it's not taken. Then we can do one thing. We can just, generally it should work with together also. But anyway, already we remember I have shown you the CSS class that you can see here. It will be always with kind of see begin end. Okay, like that. So sometime begin end with respect to spaces it should work. Yeah, space is going on. Okay, maybe because I have to define some width here. Width is more. So I will just say width is the property. I will just say 100%. Okay, so it may be aligned with, or we'll see if it is taking more part. Now see how you will find out all these complete information about, you know, kind of what input has it, right? So again, go to input, always select M, stand for your M library, go to your property section. You will see here everything is mentioned here, right? Like whatever a filled with, right? Max length and restricted key, all this. So basically it's a lot of information are available. There are different property available. What is the meaning of value help? What is the value of? So these things comes up, right? There are various property which comes. This is the aggregation, like input field will work which other controls. So something called suggestion item, right? When you type something, something comes as a suggestion, right? To suggestion row, something like that. It will be work together. All right, okay, let's not waste on that time. It's okay. It's all about CSS designing. It depends on how you design the page, and that's fine. Okay, now what I'm doing here is, or let me 90%. Okay, now see, this is my test, right? I have given. Okay, now let's say I want, you know, to refer this via my JSON model binding. So in that scenario, what I will do here, this is my model name, right? You see that my model name, what I have mentioned, view model. So see the syntax how I am writing. Okay, so syntax model will be again a curly braces, start with what is the model name? The model name, whatever you had given, that will become your model reference. So for my model number is this, and this is the path. Okay, and this is the slash of. Okay, before that, I want you to all to understand how you are able to fetch this data. Okay, whatever data I have given here, like see, I have given intro, and then I will see here intro, then first name. So this is the model name. This is my path, and then this is my property. Okay, so now if it would have worked, it will show that value. If it's not, then what we will do, that right now it's work, right? But let's say due to some reason, if it's not working, then you have to debug it, right? What's happened? What the problem happened? You need to find out what exactly has happened in those scenario, right? Let's say I gave here input as a first name. Let's I say here I change this value to my business. Reference will be my business, but business doesn't have first name. Does it work? It will work, guys, or not? Come on.
No.
I
no,
gave my
no,
local data model. Sorry.
No, because it lacks the reference, right?
Yeah, because business path, so he will find out, but he will not find the property. So it will be blank. It will not, because it doesn't have any data, right? That's the reason it's not going to happen, right? Okay, for example, I'm going to now make this happen to my line of business. See, line of business. So it is going to work. See here, line of business software came. Got it. Now I will change my model. What my model change it? I will change my model to master data model. I'm just showing you without path also it will work. So in that scenario, in our scenario, there is no path, right? See, there is no path here. Just my demo data, just this referring, I am just referring this first name. So my model name with the property. Okay, so my model name is different, right? Master data model. So I'm going to this and then just a property name, first name. I'm going to put it back. So this time I'm referring a plain structure data model of my JSON type. And see, I told you with or without your kind of string, it will work in both of them, because JSON it has the same thing. See, it work both the references. Let's say if I'm changing to contact, right? Same thing. So I'm changing back to contact. Okay, so this is going to reflect back as a contact. See, the number has came. All right. Now see, I am changing anything here. Okay, I am changing. Remember what I will explain you today? These are the client side two-way data model. Like I mean, this is also a two-way data model. Okay, let's make this also a good one. This looks like. Okay, something like this. Okay, so this is your two-way data model, right? In this scenario, what happens here? Whatever you made the changes, it will be going to reflect back, right? Okay, so how it works? You see this here. See, I am going to change now. See, of course, I will take you the debugging session. So how we debug? I'm just giving you some basic understanding right now. Okay, so this debugging tool will give you the the feature of changing it. So guys, so generally I prefer, so if you see three dot on the top, I prefer bottom side. Okay, many people prefer this either in a separate file, or see this is the another to a different left or right or bottom. I generally prefer bottom. It's up to you. Many people prefer left right. Okay, so something like this. So your, sorry, not left, this right left. Okay, so what happens here, your things will go like this. Okay, so this is also good. I mean, when you one side you can see your screen, and one side you can debug and all this stuff. That is fine. Okay, now, so I'm little bit, you can say that, see guys, okay, if you see that your curriculum has, maintained some kind of topics and step by step, but those are the topics. It doesn't mean that I have to, go through that step, because that is not possible. Because when you learn something, you have to go with the requirement of that learning process. Okay, so now see, when we started with the scratch, then template, then we talk about view, controller, bootstrapping, everything has came one by one flow, right? It came now programming, now it's came model, right? The model is just came automatically. What we saw, we saw the life cycle on init method. I explained you about that. Then it came about JSON model. I explained you about that. How you create data. I talk about that, right? Similar way. Now I want to show you, right? We talk about like two-way data model, how it's working, how data is changing in the background, right? It's not going to change in your code. Remember that. It's this is not going to change from the file. It's going to change in your runtime. Okay, so how it's going to happen? So this I can show you as a part of debugging. So it's like I'm taking the topic one by one based on the need of your learning journey. Okay, so don't be just I mean, get confused sometimes. Like anyway, we are not. We have already communicated. We will follow as per the when we progress. What is the steps we need? Like if you see that before your Fiori UI5 development, there was a cloud connector destination setup was required. Yes, it is required, right? But that will be taking a one another session. So we will do it during our process. So first we will learn, and those things we will cover up. Okay, so like that. So likewise, debugging comes in your curriculum is the later stage, in almost the last stage, but it's a need now. I need to show you, right? So that's why we start like this. Okay, so whenever we need, we take the topic and we go ahead with that. Okay, some of the things you may not find in the materials topic, of course not possible by right, every topic they can put in the PPT. So sometimes I just explain you locally by my side, so that you should be interactive and you should be able to get all this information. Okay, now, so what you can do here is you always, this is your debugger tool. Okay, so debug, that's why I say na, I actually like this bottom. Okay, it has more space. Okay, now so if you go back to your console, okay, console generally will, so it's a debugger. I'm not completely going into depth, but I will show you. Still I will talk about how you can do the debugging. Go to inspect. Okay, if you do the inspect or something, control F8 also, it will open. Sorry, F12. So whenever any programming, your scripting basically, or any, because of some error in your view file declaration, it throw error. So that error, you will be coming something right. These are not error. Okay, don't worry about. These are the something thrown by the framework. Maybe after analyzing something which is, some library could be, or some kind of information. So this is not your actual error. So ignore this part. Okay, some error will be only how it will throw error. It will throw error something like this. So for example, let's say, okay, so it's a button press, right? So I will say here, okay, something SHW. See, this is the wrong, right? So if I will try that, so it may throw such errors like, okay, this is not okay. See here, see, dot so is not a function, right? This is how it will also give you a path. You go there, it will indicate, oh, this is something wrong, right? Understood? This is how it will throw errors. So this is your error. They not this lining is not your error. Okay, error comes, so it definitely it will be in this format. So now you will go back and you can change it. Of course, the way how you debug, right? In your you put some debugger point, and then you debug, right? Yes, that debug also we do that. Okay, so here again, okay, in details I will show you how you put the debugging, all these things probably, but right now what is my my intention was to show you how this data model is changing. Okay, all right, so now I will do what I'll do here. I will put some event. For example, I have hello everyone, right? So I will do this in this button press. What I'm going to do is that You see, this is my data model, right? So what I will do here, this dot get model, whatever I have required. Okay. And then I will say dot get data. Get capital D A T data. So what you can do here, this thing you can talk about here. So in this section, you go back in your console always, and here you see, first of all, what you can do, you do this thing. Okay, go a step by step. This dot get view, does it return something? Yeah. Okay, now this dot get view is not a function there. Okay, why? Because there is no debugger I have attached, right? So it doesn't understand that, right? So I have to put some debugger somewhere. Okay, for example, I am putting on my let's say button press event. Okay, now if I put this, now my debugger has started. Now if I put this, it will return back the data. It will return some information, of course, right? There are a lot of information, like it's object wise. If you want to deep dive, you can definitely go then. But in general, we don't see all these very rare scenario. We go and check if some rare issue bug has came, then you have to go deep down and find something. Oh, okay, what happened? Where is something got blocked? But generally, these are standard one. We doesn't make any much changes from the custom side. Okay, now once you go to get view, what you need? You need get model, right? So I will say get model. So the moment you will start typing, it will show you get model. See that it will show you the suggestion. See, the moment you type here, it will start showing you. This is how it's powerful. Okay, this is your JS engine. Now get model. So it will show you get model. See, क्या मिलेगा यहाँ पे check करो. See, here you will find some of the model information which is exist in your data model. Okay, like for example, whatever we have created, and whatever data you have, OData service we have OData service URL which has been great. So it's basically whatever data is, whatever model is available and associated to your model, it will start showing you every model whatever is available. Okay, now since our model was unnamed model, so you pass the name, right? We have not an unnamed model, we have given some name, that's why it's not showing. So you have to pass the name. What was the name? This is my one of the model name. So now see, I will pass the name. Now see, you will get some data. I mean, get does that means you get some information. So this is your data. If you also find out this what the data set you have provided, right? That's the reason I showed either you write with the notation whatever you write without this a string or plain property, anyway you will be getting plain property. So it's so basically in JS when it run, it will actually convert in this format. So both the way it's actually correct. Now see, I got my model. Now what I'm saying here, in this model pay, I want to manipulate some data. So again, you put here my model dot, I will say get data. This is again, see here, suggestion given you, get data. You will get all the property whatever listed. Now what I'm doing it, I'm going to change my data. Okay, get data already we have. Dot the property, let's say, okay, contact, right? So I will change the contact. See, it's referring you from here now. Okay, what are the contact I have? The contact. Just do that. Now I'm going to change the value. See this value, I'm going to change something like 1 2 5 6 7 8 like that, and I will hit enter. Okay, so now whenever I'm making some changes on this event, right now when it's execute, right, so what will happen? Whatever data you have, because I right now see, because see, I did in my console, I didn't did in my file, right? I didn't did in my file. So I'm just showing you here. If I would have done this way here in my file, the value would have changed it. Okay, so for example, here in this scenario, I'm going to put this data back. Now, when I going to click that button, this value will be changing. So this is how, see, I'm using one control to manipulate another control. Okay, 1 minute. क्या हुआ यहाँ पे? But this dot get view dot get data. Okay. Now I have this. To go back here, this dot get view dot get data. We have here. Okay, so what we have, contact. See, contact is given. See here, actually it's got changed. You see that, everyone? You see that, right? It's got changed, but it's not reflected. You know why? Because I didn't refresh it. So I have to refresh this model dot. I have to refresh, or probably I will do in this refresh as a true. Okay, so it needs to be refreshed because whatever data you set, it needs to be refreshed. I can do the same thing here. Now I will do this refresh as a true. See, it got changed. Everyone, can you see that? So now see, this is how I was talking about two-way data binding. So in the, see, it's not going to definitely change your file, right? File is your static. It's going to manipulate the model. See the model also, if you see here, it's changed the value from the original what you have written in the code. But it's happening where? It's happening during the runtime when your app is running, when your app is performing something. That time it is changing. You got everyone, right? How? So anything you are manipulating, you make sure, of course, it's a data model or any model, you have to just refresh once to reflect the data back. But what I meant to say is that it's see, this is how it's going to manipulate anything, any property. You can take a reference, you can go and manipulate it, but it will not manipulate your file. Remember that. Okay, it will be still be the static coding. Okay, so this is one of the feature which binding we talk about. Now let's say I want to do some more action on this, right? For example, I have here in terms of kind of, I would say some more control, or let's say input I have, right? In the input, I can put some label, right? This is one of the label I can put just to reflect back what is the indicator. Let's see, I given here hello everyone and input, right? So instead of that, I can put one of the label on top of it. So the label, it says that, kind of labeling for this particular input. Any field which you are referring, it has to be kind of reference to your name, right? For example, what does it mean in that case? And remember that this space doesn't mean that it's going to put a space in your UI control in UI. It's just like coding part. I'm just in the file, I'm placing it. If you need to have some gap or something, you need to place some CSS class or some adjustment, or you can use this, the B box. B box is vertical box, and it means every control you put here, it will be vertically aligned. Similar way, we have something called H box. Okay, so that I will show you later. Okay, now see, if I change this, so what will happen here? It will come with the label as some kind of product. So see what I did here, I just went here, I just copied it. Now in my requirement, if the this is the product, then I will use the product. If I have something to change to like something as a customer, I will put customer. So you modify based on your need you need to do. Okay, now what I'm saying here. Okay, so again, so see, just to be aligned with the class, you need to give the same space and all you need to provide to this particular to that control, so that every control going to have certain same kind of width, length, everything. Okay, so like that you can maintain it. Now let's come back. I want this product to be highlighted more. Okay, or let's say I don't want some space. I want to highlight this label text, kind of different, it looks a little bit dull. What you will do, go back, go to your input, search label. Okay, again, go to label, you see M library label, go back to properties, you will see what are the design it has. Okay, display only, required, true, what is the meaning of required and all I will tell you, text alignment, right, v align, width and all these things you can actually do that. But let me show you. I want design, right? Okay, go to design here. Design means you want bold. Yes, use the bold type, right? What is the property I told you? The property name is design. So what you will do here, go back in your file, come here, design equals to, it will also start suggesting you bold. See, it will also, this is how smart enough is Bash. In fact, Web ID full stack also has such features, but if you compare a little bit advanced. So if you see now, the text will be a little bit darker, right? It was very dull, not darker. Now I want some more property. For example, if I see here, I have something, right? See, suppose example, let's take a functionality. Okay, I want to save this data. Okay, this is a save button icon. Remember, I have put on the top here. This is my something called save. On press, I will say save here. Okay, I will write one logic here. In this, some of the method which I have written, for example, I will write here. I will say function. So I will show you how you can write also a certain validation. So on save now, what I will do here, see, my requirement is when I'm saving it, the input should have some data, right? If input doesn't have any data, then I will not be going to put that value. For example, okay, on save पे मैं क्या करता हूँ? This value I am going to make it blank. Okay, not on this. Let me do one thing. Some event pay I will do here itself. I will make this blank. On save pay, I will what I will do here. I will remember I show you कि sometimes you have to do validation, right? To how you perform the validation. My requirement is when I'm clicking on this save button, I want this particular data should be mandatory to save it, right? So in that scenario, what I can do? What I can do is that here I will check this particular field, or what I can do here, because see this model reference I can, of course I can check, because see right now, let's say I am referring to this particular one binding, right? Only one information. For me, this is the only property I can look for. What I will say here, you everyone know that if else, again it's a little bit JavaScript again. Now if else, okay, so if, and then we have else body. So what it will check, I will check here if the particular data property has something, then I will say message.show is a saved successfully. I will say saved. Okay, I will also reference here in this. I will put here saved successfully. Now, what I'm going to do, now what I'm going to do here, I'm checking my property, right? If this property, so there is notation, remember that. So this if equals to this means that it has some value, right? It has some particular value. If it don't has value, it will throw you some kind of error. So now what I will say here, I will do there another control called similar to this. Remember yesterday I have shown you the types of validation message things is something called message box. Okay, the message box. I will use this message box now as my 1 to 3rd parameter, and I will going to use here in this else body, and I'm going to write message box dot error. This is the method again. You all can find out in the again API section, and I will say here ki boss, this is having I can put some kind of reference here. Okay, kind of this. I will say error. All right, what error? Or I can say here error message may, or I can say validation message also, it's up to you. So here you can say here is that please enter mandatory value. Okay, or I can say here mandatory error. So it will be a little bit more clear, because error, it could be anything. So this is how we segregate things. Okay, now, so what I'm doing here under this function, if body, I'm saying if this is my model having some data of contact, I'm saying message toast dot show this is the value of text saved. Okay, now what I'm saying here, else you do error. Okay, now see, again it was some, because the braces was missing, that's the reason it was throwing error. Okay, see, it becomes red. So this is how these are syntax error. You can find out whenever it shows you something, then do not ignore, I would say. So if, and here you have else. Okay, like that. Clear? So that's how you will be keep checking, and you check your terminal, so it will keep throwing you any kind of error if you have. Got it. So what I'm doing here is on press save, I am checking my data. Okay, before that I will click my button. Okay, I will click my button. I will make this data blank. Okay, and I will make this happen as a validation. So now this is ready. I will make this blank. Now I'm clicking on this. See, it's saying error. Error में क्या है? Message mandatory error. I think I have not changed this property yet. Okay. Message boy, message toast. Oh, toast hai, right? This should be wrong, right? I'm not calling inside message toast. I'm calling this dot resource model. Okay, I'm just calling this text, right? That's it. Okay, the message docs dot error, it will show. So there are different types is there, message box dot success dot error dot confirm. Okay, dot information, right? Like that. So I set the value blank. Now I'm saying it's saying, see, please enter mandatory value. Now if you have seen, right, any of the application, or probably any web application or any kind of registration, when you do, there are certain value, right? It's known as mandatory value, right? So generally tell me how, when you're filling a form or registration or anything, how a user like you or me identify that before clicking to the save button, there's something is mandatory. What is there, some indicator on the UI? Anybody can tell me?
Star sign. Star. Asterisk star.
Yes. To make a user available, hey, something is mandatory, right? So what you can do, in the label section, you see something is called required. Required means this is mandatory. So put this here, like under your label section, go there, required equals to, just put true. Okay, see, automatically came true, false, you put true. Now see, this field will come, this label as a star. See, label is your indicator, or basically is combined with your this particular field. Okay, product, this is the product ka input field. All right, that's why it's coming as a star. So now this is clearly indicate a star. Okay, now here let's say in this button may I I in terms of this, I can put some on the top also. I can put some kind of message, right? Please enter all the mandatory value before filling all these indicator. I can, of course, I can put that, not a problem. This is how you indicate some particular field, like label wise something is mandatory. Now see, again I'm clearing it back. I'm saying now it's please enter mandatory value. But now if I'm putting something like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, it will be saved successfully. You see this message has came. Okay, so this success may also you can actually convert back in terms of message box dot success. Generally success and error, message toast only we show in terms of, you need to perform something in the form of short message for short duration. But if success message box is something you need to show for a longer period, or probably user needs to close this I mean, everything has advantage. It depends on, you know, like use case. Some use case you may need message toast only as a type of success in both scenario. So it's okay. That's not a point here. Okay. So now see, in case of success, I will be getting that message box with the green error, right? With the green confirmation, something like that. So right, okay, just for example, we are just directly saving it, right? So see, success with the green, success successfully. If I am clearing it out, and then I'm saying here, please enter monetary value. Okay, close. Okay, now guys, so what I have done here, I have done with the model. See, as a Fiori and UI5 and UI development, the best practice is always you refer your, what you refer, your model, and play around with your model. It could be JSON model, and it could be your local model or OData server side model. But every time you need, it's best practice. But remember, you see in the view file, whenever I used to create any column, right, it used to ask me, hey, put some ID, put some ID. The reason being that you can also actually interact with your control with the ID. You see, this is my input ID, right? So what I'm doing here, this part, right? This part, I will just comment it out. What I will say here, this dot get view dot by ID, and pass the ID this, and then every, you know, input and all this thing having certain JS, I mean, this is the JS function, basically set value. Or you can check this also, sorry, your methods available in your SDK to check that what are the input having some kind of, you know, if you go to your input, I have seen you, right, in terms of how you find the method. These are the JavaScript method. Okay, here events is something when user is interacting. Okay, understand that point. Okay, don't be confused with events and method, right? Both runs via JS only, but events means when user is changing something, like user typing, something done by user, some interaction, could be by mouse, could be click, could be your touch, whatever you do, means some interaction needs to be there. Method is will be purely will be your runtime, means in the background it will be writing the code in your controller file. So I'm saying here set value, right? So in this API reference, you see there will be a set values, S4 set, it will be go in the bottom, right? So you may find somewhere set value, see set value. So you can see how you can pass the set value. So I am doing here this ID set value, I am going to pass as a blank. It will behave same way. It will behave exactly same way the way I did for model. See, it will again convert back to blank. See, it came back to blank. Got it? So you can handle it by ID, but don't make a habit of using ID because your code will become very big. Tell me, see, I will tell you how. Imagine right now, there is a very simple example, right? You have two buttons, one contour, one label, but it will not going to happen like that. You will have in a single particular view XML file, you can have n number of controls you have defined. So to deal with all n number of control files, are you going to always refer, hey, this dot by the ID, this dot by ID, this 100 times? No, it's very, very hectic. Trust me, it's going to be very bad coding also. So generally ID we use when you don't have any particular, you know, reference to model. For example, this button, right? This button, toolbar button me on press me, I don't have any things to do, right? So I'm saying here, let's say my ID is this. I will say here back button ID, and I on press back. So here I will write here. Now see this button में क्या हो रहा है? You see that method में I can write something like when I'm clicking on this button, because that button is not bound to any model, right? So you refer those kind of controls reference which doesn't have any kind of model binding involved. So what I will do here in this scenario, I will say here I will remove this and come back. Whenever you have model, always use model reference. When you don't have model, then you go back to this. In fact, I can convert this binding to a model also, right? So see, everything is possible. See, it's the way how you design your coding. Okay, everything. In fact, I can bind this with my same the way I bound this here. I can say this contact, and I can display my anything I want to handle, right? So even I can put my ID also there. But why is it's not unnecessary? But that's what I'm saying. Everything you can handle by model. But in general, if you don't have such a model reference, then go by ID. And then what I want to perform something. What I want to perform here. Okay, let's say if I'm going back, okay, you can display here this dot get button dot by ID. Okay, and then dot set. It is, you see what are the property a button can have. Button can have set kind of, I will say, text, right? Some kind of, I will say, as a type is given, right? So I will say some kind of button text what I want to set here, right? So what I will do here, set text as a back. Okay, now if I'm going to click on that particular button, if I want to set, see, there is no text I have set here in this button, right? In general, if you see other, like you have set the text here, right? But in this button we don't have text. But let's say I want to put some kind of text here, right? So if I click on this, see, it's converted back to back. Got it? So thus such thing you can perform it. You can use ID reference, and then you can manipulate some data. You can manipulate some kind of value, or this is how it's going to be more interactive and more with respect to your control. So this is again one of the way you can deal with your ID. This is just for example I have told you. Okay, now just for example I have taken this example. Now there are various control. Remember I told you, like, you have n number of control. We have table, we have all these you have elements and forms and all this stuff we have, right? So all these things, various type of, comes under your binding. Okay, something called, we call it as a data binding. And then we, in that data binding, we will going to learn about, okay, kind of what are the types of binding we have, right? Like how right now I have bound this, right, to a particular information, to a model, right? But definitely this binding should be known something, right? There should be some name of it, right? Okay, so we have certain binding availables on it. Okay, so I will not cover all the bindings. We have few types of binding, but the way which binding I talk about today, definitely I will tell you about that. Before we proceed to that part, till now, anybody having any doubt to understand, these these events which I have wrote here, how I have manipulated by data, how I have manipulated by ID, right? How I have did some validation. Okay, one more thing. See, on this validation also, you can do this like that also. Just see, just for your information, I am just passing you different way of doing it. Okay, for example, I want this. Okay, what happened? I have this input ID. Okay, I'm putting back here. I will do this. Check. I'm just putting copy here. And what I will do here, so see here what I'm showing you, how I have taken model reference to validate my data. You can do by ID also. This by ID, this is my ID. I'll put here, and then dot get value. It will check, does this particular input field has some value? If it has, then it will go. If it's not, it will throw error. See here. Now see, validation will work exactly the same way, right? So I did by either by model reference, or you do it by your ID reference. Both the way I have told you what's the difference here and why you should always focus on to make a reference of your model, because your model coding and model data will never be lost. But there will be some conflicts in ID. I will talk about, there is a one topic, okay, something there I will show you. When you are referring the ID to your control, then how it's going to create some problem, right? That I will talk about. So that's the best approach. Always use the model reference. If it's not, if you're not able to find that model for particular things, or like for this example of your back button, then go back and change it and reference by ID, right? That's the reason it will see everywhere it will keep showing, hey, put ID, hey, put ID, put ID. The reason being that the same way, like some of the things we cannot do everything by model, right? Because sometimes doing extension, for example, when you do extension of your some project of your UI5, you have to reference your control, which you can, probably have to take a reference by ID. That's the reason they are talking it. Put the ID so that if in the future or something you want to have a reference, then put, it will be good to reference directly, right? You want to know some control, right? Which control is this? You want to know more information about it. So this is where this will help you. Okay, I will say bbox ID. So if you want to know something about a particular control, this is where it will help. If you are referring by some kind of ID to any control, it's making sure that you have that control ka reference you can easily get in your controller, and then you can find out what text it has, what level it has, everything, basically what I mean to say. Okay, so like that you can make a habit. You can keep it both, ID as well. You can have your model will talk about your mostly for data. This will talk about your data plus your reference of any control. You want to know about this control. If you have ID, you can directly get it, right? So for back button ke liye I have ID, I will get to know what is this button. Is this, what is the type of button? Okay, what is the event attached to it? Everything will come back. It will show you. Okay, that kind of thing. So that's the reason it will keep saying that you have the ID so that you can uniquely identify a particular control and you can play around with it if you require something. Okay, so whenever you see any such thing here, see, I told you not necessary, but it's good to have, and that's it. Okay, fine. Okay, so we'll till now, any question so far?
Hi Manu.
Yeah.
Yesterday, with your exercise, I was trying a similar thing. So I had a couple of inputs, and I was taking the value of that input and assign it to one model, and then that was assigned to another list. But somehow the list data is not being populated. So not now, but after the session, if you are okay, can we have a look?
Okay, so list and all we will be, it's more of your different data binding. I will be coming there probably. So okay, list means you are more of, we are talking about, you might have some kind of table or kind of listing of any control which you want to show some more data, right? Kind of structure, right? Yeah, so we will come back. We will come back on that kind of binding. That time, if we can discuss, that will be better. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Because everyone, because we are moving one by one. Like if I will jump to you directly your case, so probably people will get confused, right? Because we are in the beginning of the data binding. So your binding part will come in that stage. We will discuss that part. Okay. Anybody has any other confusion as of now? Okay, so let's take a 5-minute break, and then we'll start from this. Okay, so everyone is following up, right? Whatever I'm doing yesterday, I told you if you try, okay, if you try to do coding with me parallelly, it will really going to help you. Okay, so if anyone interested, please follow that process, because I'm telling you it will be going to be help you very, very well. Okay, otherwise, see what I'm saying, this utilize this hours. Okay, after this training, you may have to involve in your actual work or maybe something else, and otherwise you may have to come back and revisit the recording, right? So again, you have to give so much time back. So if you're doing parallelly, the advantage will be like you are aligned. Whatever we are doing, you are basically doing by your hand, right? You don't have to copy. See, I can export this, I can put back in your chat, but what will happen now? You are going to just copy paste. That's not a learning, trust me. If you want to learn something, put your hands there. You make your hands dirty. It's okay. Error comes, oh, no problem. Some struggle will come, no problem. Let it. This is where you will learn, right? So if you have some error, you have some kind of confusion, You always come back in the next class. We will discuss that. Just today Preeti has some issue, right? See, we were doing their hair and it looks like everything fine, but something that on just the control reference was different. That's why it's not working, right? So that kind of things, this is how you will learn. Okay, from next time, okay, you will make sure key this reference are correct and all these things, right? Okay.
Yes.
So see, today we discuss. See, it's again, it's a beginning, and we are just entering into the basic development. All this thing, whatever we talk about JSON, when we talk about model, when we talk about binding, it's not like this is going to be over. It will be a throughout the session. Okay, it's not like when we're talking about JSON model today, I will not be talking about tomorrow or next session, because it will be a need of your development itself, right? If I talk about data bind model today's session or some other session or maybe in the later session, doesn't mean that I will not be using that model again. It will be a part of your development journey. All these topics will come one by one, and actually this all whatever I talk about, this data model, the binding, the syntaxes, the method, the event, it will works all together. So it's not like one topic done. It's not. It's always be there. Only thing is, it will keep enhancing. It will keep making little bit bigger or some bigger vision of that. Okay. So see, today, remember, we did something, right? We did some kind of binding to this particular thing, right? So it means we did some binding. Okay. So in UI5, we have something called data binding. Okay. So we'll talk about here. We talk about data model. We talk about lifecycle method. We have something called data binding. So types of data binding. So we have certain types of data binding. Okay. So what are these bindings? I will just give you a little bit into, because just now we use one of the data binding already. So one is data binding called property binding. Okay. What it does? Okay. Then I will talk about that. Fine. Let me first list out. Okay. And then I will, the property binding. Then we have something called whenever you do kind of element binding. Okay, what is this element binding? We will talk about that element binding. And then one of the most important binding we see is your call aggregation binding. Okay, this is one of the most important binding. See, every binding is of course is important only, but the in terms of usability I'm talking about. There is one more binding which is actually not totally we will consider as a binding. There are certain type of binding which comes separately. Maybe I will take that part. Okay, so in general in SAP UI5 we have these three major binding. Okay, there are one more binding which is known as expression binding, but trust me, that is not actually comes with respect to binding. It's actually something comes with respect to play around with respect to some data reference, what you can modify on top of it. That is where one of the another binding called expression binding, that also I'm just list out so that somebody will see, and then okay, like that. So there's some binding which generally I'm telling is not about this particular data binding. This is some kind of exceptional data binding called expression binding. This I will talk it again during some session. I will talk about this part as well, but trust me, I will tell you here, this is not your actual. That's why I will let me cite it. Okay, this is different binding. Okay, now property binding, what does it mean here? Okay, what property binding does? Okay, so what does it mean here? Okay, so I will just little bit introduction of that part. What I mean to say is that, so this binding, see, property means, you see in the model you define some property, right? This is called property, right? These are called what? These are called property, right? What do I mention here? Left side is property. So this is the value of property. So if you see in our view file, I have referred my model. I referred my what? This is my model, and I referred one property. Got it? So property binding reference to that, you are going to bind a data model, one property to a one control at a time. Okay, so I can say this binding refers to what? Refers to a model data, a model property, okay, a model one property, okay, property data to a control, right? For example, just now we did just something. That example was key binding a value to the input field, okay, or button text, okay, or anything like, okay, button, okay, text, okay, fine, or any control, anything. So one property you are referring basically refers to a one property to a one control at a time. I can say means what at a time means this value I can have only one reference right now, right? Of course, I can put another binding here. Let's say, for example, this is called multiple binding, right? I can pass my different binding, but what I mean to say is that key property means referring to a particular property to your data element of a particular control, right? So this is referring to a particular only very simple property binding. So whatever we did today, it was more of your property binding. If somebody will ask you what is property binding, the property binding refers to used a bind data model to the property of a control, okay, to the property of a control, okay. Or maybe just to be confused, let's leave it. Okay, this binding refers to a model one property data binding. Okay, this binding refers to a model, okay, to a model one property data binding to the property of a control. That's it. Okay, example, binding a value to the input field, or a button text. You can also, I told you, right, you can also have a button text binding you can do, right? This kind of, or any control, something like that, right? Okay, this refers to your one of the example for your property binding. Another one is your something called, which is your element binding. See, element binding, what it does, see, element binding generally refers to a particular set of containers or layout which has many data reference, right? For example, I will do one thing. I will quickly create one of the such layout in our view itself, and let's see how it works. Okay, for example, I am creating a VBox, or I will say vertical layout. Okay, I will say vertical layout. Under this, okay, by the ID you can put here like v layout ID. Okay, so layout ID something. Don't worry about the spelling and all. It's fine. Okay, so this is one of the layout ID. I'm using it. Under this, I'll put some control. This is one of the layout. I'm creating a layout. Similar way, we have different layout. Okay, I have a, we are like something. We have something called flexbox. We have form, simple form. We will talk about all this, right? I will give you some introduction, or you can definitely go and I told you always the best thing is here. You can just search for the layout. Layout are like simple form you have, right? So this is the example of simple form. Right now I'm using a kind of vertical layout, right? So you can check what a vertical layout does, right? So you see what it will just segregate some of your data into a single. That now they have given an example with image, so that's why I'm not going to use the image part. I'm going to just use some of the control inside that. Okay, the same thing. So under the vertical layout, I'm going to put some kind of text or label. Okay, so let's say I am using some text here. Okay, text can be text, or let's say put input. Okay, we talk about input. So we have input here. What all the things we have? Value. So under this value, I'm going to do some binding. So see, this the binding I'm going to use. This is my view model. I'm going to use my view model, and this is the path, remember guys. And then under this part, I have something called intro. Intro, right? But this see, this time there will be difference here. Okay, I will not be using this view model. So whatever view model, remember, I'm not going to use like this last time what I did here, right? And what path I have used. Remember the path I use, intro and all this thing. Instead, I'm just going to use my whatever the model I have created, that reference of property. Okay, so I will just see that I will just, let me try and just see. This is your first name. Now similar way, I will create another property, another input, and maybe this time I will use some text element, text. And again, if I'm using this, then I have to close this back. Okay, and then I will put here ID, like text ID, and I'm going to put here my text as my binding reference to some kind of the value of what I have is let's say contact. Okay, this is going to be my contact. Okay. Now let's say this input value first name, then we'll have a last name, and would be location, something like that. Okay, now see, we talking about here element binding. Okay, so I will first, let's define what is element binding here. Let's understand that. Okay, this binding refers to, again, see what I talk about here. I have certain layout, right? So I have certain layout. It's a container, right? It sits inside a container. If I talk about, it's a container, under that I have these controls available, right? So under this container contains some other controls. Okay, so this is your parent, parent, or this is the child. Okay, so what are these? You can say that key, this binding, okay, refers, or you can say helps in binding of a container's set of controls. Okay, that is what it does mean. That is what I mean to say is that is all child controls inside in a container, like I'm just an example, simple form, some kind of vertical, you can say, or slash. There is vertical, so we have a horizontal also, right? Horizontal layout. Okay, all these layout controls, so all child inside a containers like simple form, vertical or horizontal layout, right, would, okay, can be directly bind, or you can say binded with elements data binding. Okay, so can be binded, okay, can be bind with, can directly bind with elements binding. Okay, so this is the example. So this binding helps in binding of a container set of control, of a container set of control, that is all child controls inside a container like simple form, vertical layout, etc. Okay, not only this, there are many others. okay, can be directly bind with an element binding. Okay, so now how it works. Now I come back here. I will say here binding. There's a one property called binding. Okay, so what I will say binding, binding. Okay, binding. What I will do here, I will put the path of my binding. Okay, so what is the whatever the I put that controller and all this thing, right? My model name, everything you put it back here. So what are the model name here? V model. Okay, so this is not your this is just a variable you already set here. So it's no more reference to it. You always binding model. Come back here. Okay, again give the path. 1 minute. It should be inside your but 1 minute. This is first, then this path, and now you give the name. This is your path intro, right? So that's you give the path intro. Okay, so now basically what is doing up to here, the path has been defined already, right? And then see, for example, this, right? You see this up to here, the model path was defined. So I don't have to repeat this path for this part again. Okay. Now, after this, what property we have? First name, right? Then we have whatever I am referring to, like ID, name, contact, everything. So basically, first, let's see if this is getting loaded or not. So this is getting loaded. Okay. Now let me put this again, some kind of CSS class, so that we'll have something. Or I think we can put this path also here, or maybe here or there. Let's see. Okay, so binding is the property. Maybe we can try to put back here, because remember the path is something that is the only thing we have to just make sure. This is intro, right? ENTRO. Okay. What happened here? Binding is the property. Let's check what is the vertical layout. Let's see if okay, you come here and then you go back and enable with check with the aggregation. Okay, it has a content as aggregation. That's the reason probably it's not taking up. So you go here. Okay, or you can see here also, right? If you have such thing like that, so you can also go here and check vertical layout. You see the code here, what they use here, right? Vertical layout and then class. And okay, so whatever layout we are using it here, vertical layout. Let's see my example. Okay, so in this layout, you see this is the layout declaration, right? So I have not, okay, we already have the layout. Okay, great. Okay, fine. If it would have not been referred here, it would have not been done in that case of probably particle. So view model intro. Let's see what happened in this case. So you have image, that's fine. Let's try to put content here. This is your aggregation. So it may not loading would be, but I will load it, right? The only thing is it's not taking the data, right? Okay, so binding is something that we need to check right now. Let's check that UI vertical layout, or we'll try with some direct binding. Let's see, both is possible, but let me give it a try. Okay, so now we have add content, destroy. Here we'll be having some binding. Get content, get width, get enable saved. Okay, remove all, insert content, set width, or we have something called set binding. So you can also search like this. If something is not available, then it may not be supported in that scenario. But let me see. Okay, it's not. Let me try by different binding then. Okay, so here what we have, but we have given binding as a reference to our view model. Okay, to our intro path to the first name, last name, location, and this contact. What if I change this back to just a normal model? Okay, and then we try something like this. And what path we have given here? Data, demo data with this, and there is no path available. So it will be just a normal, right? The path, what will we have it? So in this scenario, what will happen? Let me check this data model of this should be good enough to start with. Contact. Okay, let's check what is in the documentation. Maybe something is wrong, maybe reference, or maybe it's not supported. Quickly data binding. Okay, so you see that aggregation element binding. Okay, so you will see here. Okay, see similar kind of reference. Okay, they have taken simple form. What they have used here, product ID. Okay, maybe. Okay, I think I got could be the issue. It may need a model reference for the binding, I guess. What model reference means this. Okay, so this could be the one of the region. Let's see if it works. It will load the model data name. Yeah, okay, great. So okay, see guys, what mistake probably, see, this is how, I mean, you know, you will be keep finding out what happened here right now. See, this is my named model, right? So named model, I gave the path, and I was trying to fetch this value directly, but this path is also refers to a model, right? So that's why you have to provide the path model. Okay, that's it. I mean, whatever model is there, right? Not this path directly, but you have to give the reference to it. Okay, if if for example, I will just show you what. For example, if there was no named model, it means like if this model I have not given the name, and then I would have done this binding, it would have worked with the slash or without slash. Okay, the measure being this is the region. Okay, now you see, so this is the region of being your model, last name, first name, location. What is location? Spelling. Okay, correct, right? Yeah. Okay, so text may you see this. What is the second one? Second one, property care, last name, right? Okay, I put the spelling wrong. So last name. So now you see that. Okay, so this is how, this is the meaning of element binding. All right, so this element binding is more of referring to your see, I don't have to hard code, right? See, I don't have to pass this information every time, right? So what I need to do is I just have to define the path once in the binding. And see, I told you, if you have named model, then model reference needs to be passed. If you have unnamed model, let's say this model was not even present, then in that scenario, this structure would have worked. Okay, this structure which we were trying would have worked. Okay, but since we have named model, so we have to provide the model reference at least. Okay, like that. One more thing, guys, quickly, anybody can tell me, can I convert this elements binding to a property binding? Can it will work? Let's say I don't want this, I want to do like this for each property. Can my binding will works?
Yes, it will.
Good, it will work, right? Because see, in this scenario, what is happening here, I am defining my path only, right? So I will remove this one. I can convert this binding back to my normal path. See, back to my normal property binding also will work for your elements binding. What is the only thing difference you can see here is that I am defining the full path of a property, right? It should work in that both scenario. Means you are referring the model, you are referring to your path and assigning to a particular property. So it will be working in that sense. So see what are the see if you have a very big control set, right? You don't have to write every time this long path. That's the reason they just define here in the binding section, and then you can make use of. So your property binding and elements binding actually can work together, right? So elements binding, maybe you can path provide it to the property binding. It will be the same, right? Hope everyone understood, right, what I was trying to explain. You got that? We also rectified one of the path kind of error, I will say, not sorry, binding error, like that. Okay, so just what I was trying to say is just be aligned on those things. This is how in the learning journey you will be keep getting those kind of learning, right? You may face some error, you may face, so how you can rectify, how you can find out the reference, right? So always, anytime, even right, any place, if you are stuck, you go refer to your API, you go refer to documentation, and just see. You will definitely get something. We might make mistake, no problem. You, as long as you are able to understand and rectify that thing, you are learning. That's the only set. Okay, fine. So this is about your, I talk about your data binding for elements data binding. Now see, aggregation binding and expression binding, keep it side. I told you already. This is the another kind of binding which is actually not bound to your actual data binding. What we do, this is a different set of data binding which we'll talk about. Okay, sideways. Okay, this binding is refers to your table binding. So this table binding is a big topic that we will be discussing in the next session, not today. So I will just write on the definition here. This binding, where it will help. Aggregation, right? Means aggregate, you are aggregating something, right? For example, this graph helps in list or table or kind of anything, like anything which having list or table type of, okay, data binding, where it generates, okay, where it helps to generate an child, okay, n number of child, or n number of, yeah, you can say n number of child rows, okay, rows at extra rows, or you can say list, or whatever you want to give a name. Okay, so basically it helps anything you see in the table format, anything you see in the list format. Okay, so example, right, it could be your, like, for example, your table, any table you see, any list you see, any selection you see, selection screen, okay, selection, or you can say drop down, okay, drop down, okay, controls, extra. Okay, so any such controls you see, this is called select, this is called drop down. I'm just giving a name, in general name. This is drop down in case of if I talk about normal selection, so it's called select. This is the control name. Okay, drop down में इसको बोलते हैं suggestion list. Okay, there are another control called value help. Okay, so these are the technical name: value help, controls, etc. Okay, so these contains your n number of child rows, right? So this binding helps you, it's like a group of data, right? So basically this binding helps in list or table type of data binding. Okay, that is, you can also say in that is okay, helps to bind set, or you can say group of data, okay, that's it, into tabular format. Okay, child rows I can say, or list I can say, something, whatever name you want to give, right, like that. So this is helps there. So this is the big chunk we will be discussing about the next session. Okay, this is something I told you is not exactly the way this binding works. This is something which works on these data along with this. So purely this is not a data binding. This is something which works with your data, and this is something a separate term. I mean, during the session I will definitely talk about this. So I'm just right now I'm parking that part. Okay, so ideally your data binding of 3 types. Property, you remember, property means you are referring to a particular property at once. That is a property binding. Then in terms of element binding, once you are trying to refer a group of, a group of element, right? At once you want to set the value of all of them, right? In that scenario, you have to put that, binding at a time. So you don't have to code the whole path, rather you just give the parents a binding path and all the child elements will be binded together. So like that. Okay, so such things it can be helpful for you. And this is where, I mean, simple form is example, vertical horizontal layout is example, right? When all the elements directly bind with an elements data binding. Okay, so and this is your whatever table you have seen, list you have seen. So this is your aggregation binding, where one of you has an issue with, right, a list binding stuff. We will talk about in our session. Okay, this is about a short introduction of data binding. Okay guys, so see one more thing. Okay, see, you might have seen in the materials section there are a few topics are available. Okay, so those topics actually I am just trying to cut down on your PPT presentation, rather because it's your more of your learning of your programming, okay, framework understanding, right? So that's why I'm not, because every slides will be more than 20-25. It will take more time theoretically to go by it. So what we thought I will be discussing with you ongoing process. Like I will be talking some topic. If I need to present, so I will see you see something theoretically, or you see something practically. So practically you will learn better than something. So for your reference, I will be just marking all these things and trying to cut down those PPT time to go through all the slides. So it is fine 2-3 classes we talk about all more of theoretically, but in practical session I will not be going too much on PPT presentation. I will be more on focused on these. I will go through your Bible of your SDK of UI5. I will make you walk you through there and check all this stuff. I will walk you this thing better than going through the slides and all. Okay, because the slides will be help you maybe to understand something written and you read. I will read and I will tell you. But when I do by in coding in live, you will be having better understanding. There you will see some kind of error we face or some kind of any difficulties. You will be able to rectify and you will be able to learn such thing better than those PPT mode. And whatever is important, I will just shortly. I will just see, for example, what are the data model. I just told you what are the things. I have shown you how it works, right? And two-way data model, I have shown you how it works, like that, right? Resource model we discussed. This is the one big part we will discuss later, right? Then lifecycle method, I told you this is most important. So I have used it, but these are also, I told you based on the use cases during our development. If it comes up, I told you in the beginning, right? We will take up the topics and things on demand wherever it will be adjustable, and then we will talk about all these things. So basic introduction, definitely I will be talking about the types of data binding. We definitely have a certain PPT, but it goes long. So rather discussing that part, I will just give you an introduction and then I will show you here how it works. So that live is much better than what you do go through the theoretical. But yes, you can go through all these materials if you are interested, but rather going through again there, I will suggest best you go there, everything you will find here. So none of the whatever other places you will see the information. Best thing is this, start from here. Okay, then once you do, then go to essential something. We will be anyway I'm covering, see what we have almost covered all this stuff, right? I mean, most of the part we have already covered in walkthrough tutorial, right? Translatable JSON model also we have covered, right? Pages we have covered, right? All these things. CSS also part, not custom, but something we have covered, right? Now these things are some topic we will cover, like aggregation binding we will be covering, data types with expression binding, different thing, right? So these are the something we will be covering up, but most of the topic, this is how we will be ongoing, we will be discussing, we will be showing you, this will be interacting, and we will be having such learning session. Okay, so today's session I think we can wrap up now. Any questions so far? We can discuss.
Yeah, Manu, I have one question. Actually, in vertical layout, there is one property, set binding context. So what is the difference between binding and set binding context?
Set binding context is generally which refers to your particular controls context when you're running, right? For example, if you go here, It will show you. It's given here. Vertical layout. Okay. Not this. So context means like with respect to a particular control, right? So with respect to that context, like suppose example, this context binding you will get when you're doing debugging. Okay, so when you are doing something, if you want to find what is the actual binding attached to this is where your context binding will be getting referred. Okay, so this is the method here, vertical layout. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you might have seen here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think set binding, right? This one you might be talking about. See, you check this. So it's referring to a object. So whenever you are, this is your kind of one of the object, right? But this object having another set of object, right? So when we talk about some context of it, right? So context words referring to a particular binding path of your particular control. So if you read it, you will be able to understand that, right? So example, a value null for O context is an object set, okay, of a parent context. So your parent context is, who is the parent context? This is your parent context, right? Child context, this is the child context, right? So if you want to know what are the context binding is involved to each of them, so for this context binding will be different, this will be different, this is the path is different, right? That's why. So this context binding is refers to a particular object. Okay, you can see here this saying the parent context will no longer be propagated to aggregated child controls, right? So because your parent context binding refers to your actual data model and the path, and the child is referring to the property. So their context means you are referring to a particular binding of a control, which gives you the information about what model, what path you are referring to that. All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. And definitely see everything is available. You can definitely go and check it, like how and things you can make it more understandable format. You go in depth and you will definitely going to understand that part also. Okay, anybody else having any issue? Any question?
Hi Manu.
Hello. Tell me.
Yeah, it's related actually. I'm trying to log into the account for this cockpit and getting some pop-up like to accept the privacy statement, and no accept pop-up option is there. Can I share my screen?
Accept. You should always accept that privacy.
Yeah, I'm trying to accept all these things, but no pop-up, no option is there to accept that. Can I share my screen?
Sure.
Yeah. See here, this is what I'm getting.
Privacy statement. You are in SAP ID service, right? No. Which link you are using it? Can you try run again?
Yeah, these two links I'm having.
EMR cockpit. Okay, try that. Sign in now. It's loading. So everyone, please try, practice, and go through all this. The logics, all the concept what we discussed. And SDK is your Bible. Please refer that and try the practice by yourself. Any doubt, you refer to my recordings, especially for yesterday and today, and try something. When you have the idea, try some. If you have followed me during the discussion, it's good. If not, then go through recording, try coding again, and try to by yourself. Yeah, Atharv, can you? I'm not seeing your screen.
Yes, you able to see my screen right now?
No. Probably it's loading. Yeah, fine. Yeah, it's coming now. Hey, legal statements, privacy statement, finalize yourself. Okay, click on the privacy statement. Welcome to.
Can you go?
No. This is wrong. Go to incognito mode.
Go down. There is a scroll bar. Go down.
Go down.
Accept.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, now it will work.
Right?
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So see you on Monday. In that case, if you don't have time for tomorrow, then see you on Monday. And please try to practice whatever we discuss. It will be going to help you in more understanding. Put some time, especially SDK. I'm keep repeating SDK, JS, all this thing. Get some time. Go through the recording if you have face any issue, any error, right? Anything might help you. Okay. Chalo guys, everyone. Have a nice weekend. See you on Monday. Goodbye.
Yeah, thanks Manu. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below, and we will reply to them at the earliest.